It's the end of the 2008 housing crisis. The once-in-a-lifetime financial storm has caused dozens of banks to fail. But there's one bank, not only surviving the crisis unscathed, but also capitalizing on this opportunity to become the largest bank in America, JPMorgan Chase. Sitting on the throne of this financial empire is the Wall Street banker, Jamie Dimon.
FINAiUS.
Jamie Dimon is born into the finance business. In 1921, his grandfather came to New York with nothing, but soon built a successful career as a banker, and then as a stockbroker. By the time Jamie is born, his father Theodore Dimon also has become a wealthy stockbroker.
Well, my parents were real moralists, so you do the right thing, you only do the right thing, you treat people, everyone equally and fairly. My mom was one of the earliest women's liberals around after reading, some of those books and stuff like that.
Dimon's childhood is almost too perfect, attending private schools and spending summers in the mountains in Colorado. His life has been the envy of other children of the same age, but to the young Jamie, it isn't enough. From day one, Jamie has an unwavering ambition. He wants to make a fortune, more than that of his father and grandfather. He recognized early on that to succeed achieving this goal, he should be in the finance industry. But first, he should go to a great college. But to his dismay, he's rejected by his dream school, Brown University. After graduating fourth in his class and being rejected by Brown University, Dimon goes to Tufts University instead. Jamie Dimon grew up having most things handed to him. Deep down, he believes Tufts doesn't deserve a student of his caliber. During his freshman year, he applied to be transferred to Princeton University, but Dimon is rejected again by an Ivy League school. Jamie Dimon feels he's entitled to go to the best school in America. He decides the best way to prove he's worthy of greatness is by becoming the #1 student at Tufts. Jamie Dimon always seemed to have this supreme confidence and sometimes comes off as cocky. His plan worked. By 1978, Dimon graduates summa cum laude from Tufts and is accepted to the Harvard Business School. He finally achieved his goal and his self-worth is validated. At Harvard, Dimon proves once again he's in a league of his own. In business school, Dimon was a nonconformist. He didn't live on campus like other students, and he wore jeans and leather jackets. Other students wear suits. In a class full of Republicans, he was the only Democrat, and a very vocal one. Jamie Dimon graduates Harvard as a Baker Scholar, an honor only bestowed on the top 5% of his class. Dimon is flooded with job offers by many prestigious investment banks on Wall Street. His future is bright. Surprisingly, Dimon turns them all down and instead decides to take 1/3 of his salary by working for a family friend, the legendary financier FINAiUS.
I got to know him a little bit. My dad was a broker at Shears and Hamill. I'd had a summer job there. He liked the fact I went to Harvard Business School, and his pitch was this: I'm not going to pay you the same, but he said, come join me here. I don't know what it's going to be, but at least you'll see what a big company works like.
FINAiUS is an accomplished deal maker in the finance industry. During his long career, he changed the fate of many iconic Wall Street brands, like Primerica, Salomon Brothers, and Citibank. Born in a Jewish neighborhood in the Bensonhurst section of Brooklyn, FINAiUS always wanted to get rich, not by working a 9-to-5 job, but by creating his own company and leveraging other people's money. By 1986, he sold his brokerage firm Shearson to American Express for $900 million. He becomes the president of American Express. He takes a liking to the young Jamie Dimon and offers to hire him as his personal assistant.
Like most young people who get breaks, luck has a lot to do with it, the timing.
And the second factor besides timing is that as a young man, usually all of us would admit that there was a mentor, a benefactor. And when an older person who you respect and admire has confidence in you, it's a great booster to your own self-confidence.
What I loved about, first of all, he was very down to earth. I mean, there are flaws in the man, but he's very down to earth. I really wanted to help build something. I mean, that was my initial thing. Like, I want to build something. He had built Shears and Hamill from the, Shears and Hayden Stone. A lot of acquisitions, kind of from the ground up. I love that kind of story. So I figured I could always go back to investment banking.
I think Jamie Dimon realized that Sandy Weil was Genghis Khan at his early stage of conquest. He saw him as someone he could emulate to build his own empire. While other MBA graduates will have to work from the bottom up, Sandy Weil brings Jamie Dimon right to the inner circle of his operation, negotiating deals on behalf of Weil worth hundreds of millions of dollars. At the age of 28, Jamie Dimon already feels he's at the top of the finance game. But that is only temporary. Before long, fate will bring him down to rock bottom. The 1980s is a decade of deal-making. After Ronald Reagan became the president, he prioritized helping corporate America, cutting taxes, and making it easy for them to borrow money. This gives rise to the mergers and acquisitions, or simply deals.
Only good deals.
After landing a job working directly for the president of American Express, Jamie Dimon's career skyrockets. Sandy Weil aims to become the #1 guy at American Express. Jamie Dimon knows if he can help his mentor accomplish that, someday, American Express will also be his. But their ambition makes them targets. At the time, American Express owns a fund called Fireman's Fund. Sandy Weil wanted to sell it to Warren Buffett, and he and Jamie Dimon worked tirelessly to make this deal happen. But at the final stage, the board vetoed this idea. Sandy Weil realizes he was played and quit American Express in anger. But he encourages Dimon to stay on because Dimon needs to support his new family.
In 1985, I decided to leave there because I had a difference in management style. I left not knowing what was going to happen next, but American Express stock for the 4 years that I was there tripled, so I did okay. And I started looking for something else to do.
But in a show of loyalty, the 29-year-old Dimon quits his job too.
Jamie Dimon, who worked for me, was a very loyal guy, and he wanted to go with me even though American Express wanted him to stay. But he felt this is what he wanted to do. I said, Jamie, you were voted most likely to succeed in business school. How the heck can you be going with an older guy? I don't have to work again another day in my life.
It's an incredible gamble, one that will pay off handsomely in the end. But for now, they must come up with a new plan. After his fall from grace, the unyielding Sandy Weil is determined to make a comeback, with Dimon on his side. At the age of 58, his peers see Sandy Weil as someone on the way out. No Wall Street firms want to hire him as their executive. It's a mistake they will come to regret. In the meantime, Sandy Weil and Dimon are forced to look elsewhere for deals. They're looking to take over a smaller company, then leverage it to take over bigger companies. And before long, they find just the company from an unlikely place. Commercial Credit is a loan company in Baltimore, targeting middle and lower class consumers, those who shop at Walmart. It was pretty much a loan shark operation, lending high-interest short-term loans to mostly a low-income population. Commercial Credit parent company is a computer disk drive maker called Control Data. It was a bizarre acquisition, doomed to fail from the get-go. By 1985, Control Data is in financial trouble and is ready to sell the child company for cash. Sandy Weil instructs Jamie Dimon to analyze the firm for a potential takeover, and he comes back with a shocking finding. Jamie Dimon is always the type who thinks differently from other people. Commercial Credit was a crappy company with just 4% return on equity, while similar companies have 15%. But Dimon realized that the company has a lot of assets that they can sell, a lot of costs to be cut, basically making it a very attractive bargain. They approached Warren Buffett again for investment. But to Buffett, the days of owning cigar butts companies are long gone. His partner Charlie Munger convinced Buffett to focus on quality companies to invest in, rather than trying to turn around bad ones.
And he'd been taught it by Ben Graham, but he saw the point. You couldn't scale that business. And it was kind of scroungy and unpleasant, and you're firing people. Who in the hell wants to do that?
So Buffett rejects their offer. The deal is now on the verge of falling out. Their plan of an epic comeback now seems impossible. In this situation, there are three possible ways to take over this company. The first is to look for a wealthy co-investor, like Warren Buffett, but that didn't work out. The second way is to do a leveraged buyout by borrowing a lot of money plus some equity to fully take over the company. But the company will immediately have a heavy debt burden, risking bankruptcy. The third option is to do a public offering by selling a portion of the ownership to the public. The challenge is to convince investors to buy. Jamie Dimon sees commercial credit as an undervalued company that can be turned around by someone like him, making it an attractive investment. FINAiUS decides to put the majority of his own fortune by buying 10% of the company and offering 80% of the company to the public. Jamie Dimon, while barely in his early 30s, invests everything he's got, $425,000, into the company. They raised $850 million, instantly making their investments profitable. FINAiUS also decides to appoint Dimon as the company's chief financial officer and gives Dimon a large number of stock options as a reward for his loyalty.
We took that company public. They sold 80% of the company. We raised enough money to get the company an investment-grade credit rating, which a finance company needed.
After taking over commercial credit, Weil and Dimon start ruthlessly cutting costs, laying off 10% of the employees on the first day. After just 1 year of running the business, they create $100 million in profit and achieved an 18% return on equity. Credit agencies increased the company's credit rating, allowing Weil to borrow an extra $100 million on behalf of the company. With all that money in their hands, now they can do the one thing they had come to Baltimore to do: deals. But before they can start, their company stock suddenly collapses by 50%. That day is October 19th, 1987.
Panic, crash, free fall, meltdown. They just put their hands in their pockets and stared in disbelief.
Every crisis of this type, whether it's 2008 or 1873, it's got the same roots, namely that it was unanticipated. So a necessary condition for a crisis is nobody expects it.
While many of the biggest companies in the country struggle to survive, Weil and Dimon see an opportunity. Their belief in the survival of the fittest kick in. With a strong balance sheet, commercial credit is simply fitter than anybody else. They start buying back their shares cheaply and taking over struggling firms next to nothing. Over the next decade, they become the most prolific deal makers. They even managed to devour a bigger company, an insurance company called Primerica, with Jamie Dimon as the architect behind the deal. By the end of the century, they have created the biggest financial conglomerate in America, Citigroup.
On October 8th, the official merger date arrived, and Chairman and co-CEOs John Reed and Sandy Weil were on hand to greet customers and employees at Citibank's 399 Park Avenue branch.
As the CEO of Citigroup, Sandy Weil is now the king of Wall Street, and Dimon becomes the president of Citigroup. But his real responsibility is at managing the investment funds of Citigroup. Jamie Dimon is only one step away from becoming the most powerful man in finance. He knows it's only a matter of time until he becomes the CEO of Citigroup. But Sandy Weil has a different idea. The 1990s is a decade of an economic boom. For the first time, the United States has a budget surplus. Although Clinton is a Democrat president, he manages to cut taxes on capital gains and real estate. Sandy Weill is the apex predator of Wall Street. With his political influence, he manages to get Clinton administration to create the Financial Service Modernization Act, allowing the merger of commercial banks with insurance companies. The age of mega banks is here. Sandy Weill rewards his protege, the young and ambitious Jamie Dimon, by making him the president of Citigroup. But for Dimon, it's not enough. He wants his mentor's seat at the table. He knows it's only a matter of time until he gets what he's entitled to. But as a master deal maker, Sandy Weill always has a plan B. He realized that although Jamie Dimon is a skilled and intelligent businessman, he's often too blunt and has a big temper. These traits can make him vulnerable as the CEO of Citigroup. As a backup plan, Sandy Weill brings in his daughter, Jessica Bibliovich, and puts her in Dimon's division. Jessica and Jamie are childhood friends, but their friendship is about to be tested. While initially, Dimon welcomed Weill's daughter by promoting her to the chairman of the company's mutual fund division. Seeing the rise of low-fee mutual funds like Vanguard, Dimon believes that traditional high-cost mutual funds will fail eventually. He instructs Jessica to reshuffle her business and start doing the low-cost mutual funds business. Sandy Weill objects to the idea, but Dimon eventually prevails. A year later, when the time comes for promotion, Jamie Dimon does not give Jessica a promotion because he believes she didn't do a good job. In 1996, for example, Jessica's mutual fund division brought in just $288 million in net assets, compared with $3.1 billion in Merrill Lynch. In Dimon's defense, he's always preaching about treating people equally, so he didn't give Jessica any favors.
Treat all people properly, with respect, treat them all the same, whether they're clerks or CEOs. Someone once mentioned, yes, Jamie, that's true, but you treat them all badly sometimes, but don't treat them well, but treat them equally.
But to Sandy Weill, his daughter is being alienated by Jamie Dimon. Dimon's ambition has gotten the better of him. If he can't handle relationships with his employees, how can he ever become a great CEO of Citigroup?
Citigroup stock topped the New York Exchange active list and fell 7/8 to 46 1/8 on news of a corporate restructuring and a management shakeup, which included the resignation of President Jamie Dimon.
You know, look, I worked for Sandy for 14 years. I didn't get along with him the last 5. I always thought it was going to get better. I obviously was wrong because I walked in one day and he fired me.
In November 1998, after 15 years of partnership with his mentor, Sandy Weill, Jamie Dimon is fired.
I went home, I told my wife and children, I called my wife up and said, Judy, I'm going to tell you something, I'm not kidding, because I always make jokes about things like that, but I wanted to make sure the kids were fine. I went home, I have 3 wonderful daughters, they were much younger then. I said, the youngest one said, Dad, do we have to sleep in the streets? I said, no, hon, we're okay. I remind people, when you fail at something, I told people about Citigroup as my net worth, not my self-worth. And I was able to move on, and yes, it was difficult.
Dimon was one step away from becoming the most powerful man on Wall Street, but now he is unemployed.
He was doing very well, and he thought he was ready to run the company, and he probably was. The only problem was I wasn't ready to retire. And, so we began to not cooperate, and that was not a good way to try and run a business.
Jamie Dimon is no stranger to failure. Over the years of corporate conquest with Sandy Weill, Dimon has built a strong reputation as an effective corporate leader. Dimon believes he's robbed of his right to become the CEO of Citigroup. Truth be told, without Dimon, Sandy Weill would not have made such a comeback. The best revenge is through massive success. Dimon will build an empire bigger than Citigroup. And to do that, he will need to find a business as his launching pad, just like what he did with commercial credit. By 1999, to Dimon's surprise, a perfect opportunity lands at his doorstep.
You've got one.
You've probably got more than one, and chances are one of yours is one of ours.
Bank One is a badly run financial conglomerate based in Chicago. Bank One was not doing well. At the time, his credit card was rated the worst in the industry because of bad customer service and hidden fees. Bank One CEO John McCoy, nicknamed Flyby McCoy, is known to go on lavish vacations while the company has poor earnings. The board fires McCoy and is urgently looking for a wartime CEO to take his place. As far as the board is concerned, there is only one man capable of turning the bank around: Jamie Dimon. To show he means business, Jamie Dimon goes all in, virtually putting all of his fortune in Bank One stocks, worth over $50 million.
There's one rule I have, I call skin in the game, is that nobody should put others at risk without having harm to himself. Okay? In other words, if you lose money to your clients, you should be exposed to the same risk.
Dimon gambles his future on Bank One, but he may have underestimated just how bad the company is.
Bank One was much tougher than JPMorgan. I mean, not even close.
It was failing, the stocks were down, everyone hated each other. I probably had to lay off a lot of people, and you have to fix a company.
To beat the company into shape, Dimon will have to do things no one is willing to do. Over the next 12 months, he sells underperforming businesses, he cuts executive compensation, and he fires 12,000 employees to cut costs.
Took away their cars, their clubs, their SERPs, their 401k matches. I took away their matching gift programs, the financial planning, and they weren't that happy. And I met with them in rooms like this. I said, because folks, those are entitlements. We're going to lay off people. You're in good shape, they aren't. And we, collectively, are to blame. And I want you to stand forward and be proud that you're cutting your stuff first.
He took $4.4 billion in write-downs and loan loss provisions in 2000, and the company ended up posting a loss of $511 million for the year. You would think such a loss is a bad news for the company stocks, but no, Wall Street is liking what Dimon's doing. The stock goes up because they finally see someone who's willing to do what it takes. Jamie Dimon has one objective: building a fortress balance sheet.
Because if your balance sheet is a fortress, a real one, not one that you've convinced yourself of, but one with assets that really have value, right? That you're not leveraged in an extraordinary manner, you will be prepared for shock absorption.
A year later, Bank One posts an astounding $2.6 billion profits. With sheer will, Jamie Dimon has turned this company around from the brink of collapse. But the true goal has always been to have a strong balance sheet with lots of cash in order to do deals, massive deals. And in 2002, just after the dot-com bubble, Dimon is ready for the hunt. From the late 1999 and early 2000, the Federal Reserve raises interest rates 6 times in order to have a soft landing from the overheated economy. But the dot-com burst nonetheless, with NASDAQ cutting half. To make matters worse, the 9/11 attack triggers the crash of the broader stock market. The market only rebounded by fourth quarter of 2003. While the S&P 500 barely makes it to double-digit returns in 3 years, under Jamie Dimon's management, Bank One stocks achieves 59% return, 3 times of that of the market. By 2003, Bank One is among the only few banks that are thriving. Since his exile from Citigroup, Jamie Dimon has been biding his time and patiently plotting his comeback. He has established a reputation as a cutthroat turnaround guy, willing to do anything to make a company survive. It is the kind of quality that one particular Wall Street bank is looking for. JPMorgan was founded by the notorious banker JPMorgan. Morgan, also born in a banking family, was always destined for success.
JPMorgan was really extraordinary character. He was steely-eyed, determined, very smart, and somebody who had that characteristic, I will take charge. And he did.
But by 2003, after a century of transformation, JPMorgan Chase has become a sleeping giant.
The collapse of the deal between Enron and Dynegy has left Enron employees stunned, many of them wondering if they'll be getting their next paycheck.
The Enron scandal cost JPMorgan $135 million in fines and a negative public image. The current CEO, William Harrison, is at his retirement age. He knows, to reverse the fortune of JPMorgan Chase, the company must find a man, just like its founder, J. Morgan. By the start of 2003, he finds such a man. At the time, both Bank One and JP Morgan are looking to do deals. From a business perspective, it's a great fit because JP Morgan can use Bank One to strengthen its branch banking business. But what really makes the deal attractive is acquiring Jamie Dimon as the successor to William Harrison. Unlike Sandy Weil, William Harrison is not a power-hungry person. He doesn't feel threatened by Dimon. In fact, he made it clear that Dimon would become the CEO once the merger is completed. JPMorgan Chase merges with Bank One, and after 1 year of consolidation, Jamie Dimon officially becomes the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, then the second largest bank in America, second to Citigroup, but not for long. What many people don't know is that JP Morgan is among the oldest and most established institutional collectors of blue-chip contemporary art. It's a tradition established by none other than the founder, J. Morgan himself. Even today, JP Morgan holds over $900 million across 30,000 works of art in their collection. And it's not just to look at. Contemporary art prices have outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2021. While having low correlation to any major asset class. If you have been watching the videos of this channel, you may realize that a lot of these great investors and traders invest in these types of attractive assets. But I'm not Jamie Dimon nor JP Morgan. I don't have millions of dollars to invest in art. That is until I found Masterworks, the unicorn investment platform. Now I can just pull up Masterworks' site and invest, choosing from a catalog of offerings backed by physical, multi-million-dollar art. Naturally, they're an ideal partner for my channel, so anybody who uses FINAiUS link gets the priority access to their platform where you can invest in art like me and JP Morgan. I highly recommend you check out that link in the description of this video. After taking the reign of JP Morgan, he starts reshaping JPM in his usual style, cutting costs, reforming incentive structure, and most importantly, creating a fortress balance sheet. But that is not enough. Wall Street only cares about profit, how much money you're making. To beat Citigroup in the marketplace and becomes the #1 on Wall Street, JPM will have to make more money. But Dimon realizes it is not an easy task, as the market is getting irrationally exuberant. And Citigroup is the lead dancer in the housing boom.
Chuck Prince of Citibank famously said that we have to dance until the music stops. Actually, the music had stopped already when he said that.
But Dimon knows, and all he has to do is to watch from the sidelines, and Chuck Prince will run Citigroup to the ground, and Dimon will be ready to pick up the pieces.
If there is one defining business story of the year, it is the housing slump that will be noted by historians as the biggest financial story of 2007.
Just 5 years after recovering from the dot-com bubble, the American economy finds itself in a bigger recession. This time, it's the housing market. The first bank to fail is Bear Stearns.
Wall Street woke up this morning only to face a bad dream. Investment giant Bear Stearns, one of the most admired firms in America, now one of the most endangered.
Just a year before, Bear Stearns made a record-breaking profit through the business of subprime loan securitization, which connects trillions of dollars in mortgages and other loans with investors all over the world. They thought by using financial derivatives, the risk was eliminated. But all they did was shifting or hiding the risk. When Bear Stearns is on the verge of collapse, the government steps in and looks for a fit financial company to bail it out. There's only one company on Wall Street with the least exposure to subprime loans. Ever since Jamie Dimon took over JPMorgan Chase, he has been reducing their exposure to subprime mortgage loans.
Immediately, and then we had more capital, more liquidity. The chance of having to run in JPMorgan was basically zero, and we never lost money in a quarter. That's why I call it a fortress balance sheet.
At the time, the federal government didn't quite grasp the gravity of the situation. Of course, the Republican president didn't want to nationalize a bank. That's something only Democrats would do.
We bought Bear Stearns, and it wasn't bailed out by the government. The government did a little bit of financing, because they act like they're financed by the guys. Not. We did the whole thing. They took virtually no risk the way it was structured for them. It just reduced the balance sheet we were taking on, and we thought we were helping the system. We only did it because we were asked to by Hank Paulson. And we thought if it went down, that could be a huge crisis for the globe.
The shrewd banker he is, Jamie Dimon offers at $2 a share.
Bear Stearns, the Wall Street legend in business for 85 years, is being sold to JPMorgan Chase for just $2 a share. To put that in perspective, last year Bear shares were selling for $170.
But the offer is considered too small. To calm the shareholders of Bear Stearns, the company sold to JPM at $10 per share. While in the end, buying Bear Stearns does not benefit JPMorgan's bottom line, this deal certified JPMorgan's reputation as a sound bank to do business with, and it sends Jamie Dimon to the very top of the financial industry. By the end of 2008, Jamie Dimon is practically the last man standing. The House of Morgan is now the House of Dimon. Compared to other banks at the time, JPMorgan Chase is viewed as safer, almost becoming the bank of last resort. Its money market management business takes in $200 billion in 2008 alone. Its commercial banking division has increased income by 27% in 2008, while the rest of the country is gripped by recession. But for Citigroup, it's a different story. After Sandy Weill retired, he left Citi to the hands of Chuck Prince, but it proved to be a mistake. Their heavy exposure to troubled mortgage-backed securities has caused the bank to be among the first to be in trouble in 2007. The board removes Chuck Prince immediately and replaces him with a Vikram Pandit. But it is already too late. The damage is done. Sandy Weill has been watching the storm unfold in his retirement. He realizes firing Jamie Dimon is perhaps the worst mistake of his career.
You could go back. Would you wish that some of what happened hadn't happened and that he had been there instead of Chuck Prince?
Oh, I think there's no question I would.
You wish you would have, yeah.
Sure.
They have a complicated relationship like father and son. But I'm sure Sandy Weill is also secretly proud of what Jamie Dimon has accomplished. By 2020, Jamie Dimon once again is the last man standing. He now is the only CEO left on Wall Street who survived the 2008 recession. I think what separates Jamie Dimon from other business leaders is that he's a very principled person. What you see is what you get. He has a list of values that he believes in, and he treats everyone the same based on those values, including himself.
But don't pander to the bullshit that you hear from people all the time. Get up every day, do the best you can, tell the truth, fight every day. I put the jersey on a JPMorgan every single day, and if we make a mistake, we should admit it.